Hey there, I'm an animated Connor Walsh, which is kind of ironic because people say I'm pretty animated in real life. Anyway, welcome to Walsh Wednesday, my new/old podcast. Let me explain. Back in high school in 2013, I was pressured by some friends to do an impromptu solo acoustic performance in my cafeteria. Believe it or not, people really took to it. And it turned into a monthly musical series I did through the rest of high school. Who said High School Musical wasn't realistic? By college, I turned Walsh Wednesday into a web series, focusing on interviews surrounding community events, charities, and local entertainment in the Hudson Valley and Capital Regions of New York. Walsh Wednesday spawned several spin-offs such as the Walsh Wednesday Concert Series, Walsh Wednesday Spotlights, and Walsh Wednesday The Reflective Series before its hiatus in 2021. After that, I spent the last 3 years working in radio, honing my craft, conducting unbelievable interviews, traveling to fascinating places, attending mind-blowing events, and meeting some of my personal heroes. Now, with the help of some awesome people I've met along the way, I'm bringing Walsh Wednesday back bigger and better than ever. Let's stay curious, keep an open mind, and as always, I'm glad we get to spend some time. Welcome to Walsh Wednesday. On this week's episode, we're speaking with Vice President of Programs and Services with the Hudson Valley chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, Meg Boyce, and Fund Development and Volunteer Coordinator for Mid-Hudson Love Inc., Joel Rattzlaff. Special thanks to Impact PR and Communications, Teespring, IABO Board 114, and Walsh Valuation. That being said, on with the show. Hey there, I'm Connor Walsh, and this is Walsh Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. We got a great episode lined up for you guys. And with me today is somebody that I met through the radio station years ago, and, we become great friends out of it. And the charity that we're here to talk about today, it's near and dear to my heart. Both of my maternal grandparents have been afflicted by this disease, so it really hits home for me, and I'm sure it hits home for a lot of you guys as well. So with us today, we have Meg Boyce, the Vice President of Programs and Services with the Hudson Valley chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. She's also one of their research champions here in the Hudson Valley, and there's a great event coming up called Sub-Zero Heroes that I'm really excited to talk about. Meg, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Connor. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on the new show. Obviously, we've had you on the radio station many a time, but yes, now we got you here, so thank you for being here on Walsh Wednesday. Before anything else, I just got to say, congratulations on 25 years. We celebrated that last week all together.
Yeah, last Friday was 25 years with the association. I started when I was 10.
Yes,
so,
makes sense. 10? Yes. I thought it was 5.
Yes. Yeah. So, I can't believe it. They say how time flies when you're having fun. I don't know if you would think working with the Alzheimer's Association is fun, but I make it fun.
You guys make it fun. At least the event last Friday was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was so much fun.
But no, that's fantastic. So 25 years, you've been championing this disease. You've been helping things out here in the Hudson Valley. And probably one of the most fun things that I've seen that you guys do is this event with Sub-Zero Heroes. And I know you and your husband have a blast for it. On the website, you guys are the first thing that shows up, the first picture you guys
with our crazy purple wigs.
Yes, and it's fantastic. So let's give some context to the people out there. What exactly is Sub-Zero Heroes, and why are you in such crazy costumes?
Okay, so this was actually my husband's idea, and his good friend Chris Hamill put together the polar plunge for the Special Olympics. And so he talked to Chris, and Chris is like, yeah, you have my blessing, go do it. It's a totally different group of people that we're reaching than what the polar plunge reaches. So my husband, Brendan, his nickname is Father of Freeze, and because he loves the cold. And so he founded this event. This is the 15th anniversary.
15th now. Congrats.
It's the 15th year that we're going to be jumping into a frozen lake. It's something different. It's something fun. Believe it or not, I end up raising more money when I jump into a frozen lake than just walking when we do our walk.
See, you got to do the absurd in order to get the money. It's like, oh, you're just walking? Whatever. Oh, you're going to go into a freezing lake?
Yes.
Take my money.
So it's a fun event. It's called Sub-Zero Heroes. And so everybody can dress up like either their favorite hero or the color of the Alzheimer's Association, which I see you're wearing there.
A little bit of purple.
There you
go.
Purple is our color because purple represents hope. So that's why actually a lot of nonprofits have purple as their color. So people dress up as their favorite superhero. Some people really get into it and they'll do a cast of characters. One year we had people dress up like the Big Bang Theory characters. You know, it's a blast. It is Saturday, February 8th at Berrien Lake. And Berrien Lake is actually Highland's residential lake. So if you are a resident of Highland, New York, you have access to Berrien Lake.
Oh.
So they allow us to use the lake. It's a perfect location. It's a beautiful little lake. You know, we have everybody there that we need. I don't want people to think we're jumping into a lake with no safety.
Yes.
So we have the dive team, the Ulster County Sheriff's dive team. They're in the water with us in case anybody needs assistance getting out. We do have an ambulance in case.
No,
I will say 15 years, well, it'll be 15 years. We've only had one little minor injury.
There you go.
And that was a young woman who thought the water was deeper than it was, and she kept her legs straight.
Oh, okay.
So she hurt one of her ankles.
Gotcha. So it's recommended to cannonball, I'm assuming.
Cannonball or keep your knees loose, keep your legs loose, because it's probably about 4 feet deep.
Yeah, it's right off the pier, right?
Yeah. So it's not, you don't have to go underwater. My husband, if he doesn't go underwater, he feels like he didn't jump. So he'll submerge. I like to keep my head above water. But it's a lot of fun. We're always looking for new teams, for new people to come join us. We're trying to get the colleges involved this year.
That would be a lot of fun.
And having them have teams. We have had sports teams in the past from Marist, jump. So, trying to build on that. We want to make it bigger and better each year. Of course, 15 years is a big deal.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So my goal is to raise $10,000. I'm far from it right now, but if I do raise $10,000, I will be shaving my head at the event.
Oh, that's worth it. Come on, guys.
I've done. I did once before.
I was going to say that was something you've done before. Oh, all the milestones.
So all the milestones, I shave my head. So, but I need to raise $10,000.
All right, let's get her up to $10,000, y'all. So, of course, with Sub-Zero Heroes, you have all these people dressing up. I got to say, one of my favorite from the photos and videos I've seen, people came as the Incredibles. I thought that was great. I like that. I saw some other Marvel heroes. I just love the vibes.
Yes.
And then, of course, the safety, that's key. You have all of that. I remember you telling me one year you have like a hot chocolate station. Do you still have that?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Tell me about the stations that are available.
So we're very lucky that the culinary comes down. Some of the students from the culinary, they usually bring 2 or 3 different soups. Usually there's a chili, there's a butternut squash apple soup, and another kind of soup. And then, yes, we have a hot chocolate bar. So you get your hot chocolate, and then we have peppermint sticks, and usually we get flavored marshmallows from the Marshmallow Company in Beacon.
Okay.
They kindly donate different, so chocolate, caramel, vanilla, peanut butter, and you can put whatever kind of marshmallows you want. I think it's important for people to know also we do have heated trailers.
That is good.
To change into. Basically, we all line up, and the more money you raise, the further you're in the front of the pack.
So you get it over with, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
So that's why everybody's clamoring to raise the most funds so that they can get in their costumes, jump, run up the hill, go into the heated trailers, get out of their wet clothes.
Yep.
And then go and enjoy some soup and some hot chocolate. We even have people who tailgate.
Yeah.
We have some groups that will actually bring like a grill, and after they jump, they're grilling hot dogs and hamburgers in the parking lot. So a lot of people kind of make it a day event,
Nice.
which is also wonderful.
That is so cool. I love the camaraderie of all of this. It's kooky, it's crazy, it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
But it's something great to help start off the year. I know it's the second month, but come on, February. It's still beginning of the year and everything.
Yes.
It's a great way to kick things off. And also, it's an exciting weekend, too. That's the same weekend as Super Bowl weekend. So you have everything going on all at once.
That's it.
Get your tailgate in ahead of time. So, of course, we'll have the links and information in the description of this episode so you can find more. But for those who want to create a team, whether they want to donate, it's all on the website, right?
Yes. So Connor will be sharing the link because it's quite a lengthy link.
It's a long link. They didn't make it
Sorry.
easy, but it is in the description. We promise. But
And if you're interested in joining my team, which maybe I can convince Connor to jump this year.
February 8th. We'll talk after. I can figure that out.
So my team is Boyce Blazers, and so you can either join as an individual or you can bring your friends and family. You can jump as a team and come up with a name for your team. Our team that has raised the most money in the past, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years, it's really cute. They're called Strikeout Alls.
Aw.
And they all dress like bowling pins, and then there's one bowling ball. And every year they raise probably about $17,000 for this event. The other thing I should say is, if you don't want to jump, but you want to still participate and raise money, you can be a sidekick. So you know how all superheroes have a sidekick? Mm-hmm. So the sidekick can raise funds for the team they're on. And then what the sidekick does is they're standing there by the lake. So when their superheroes jump out of the lake, they have their towels for them ready to go. They help them get them up the hill. Mm-hmm. Make sure they're okay. I have a sidekick, Eileen, who's one of our staff, is my sidekick every year. Thank you, Eileen. You don't have to jump in order to raise.
No, and that's good to know because obviously somebody nuts like me, I would love to do it, but I know some people who would, probably love to help, but wouldn't want to dive in. So that's very good.
Yes.
So the sidekicks, very important. It's like, if you need to be Robin. You can be Robin.
Yes.
You're totally fine with that.
It's all good to be Robin.
Robin becomes Nightwing, and Nightwing is just like one of the most badass superheroes. So
yes.
I will defend Nightwing every single day. But that's a whole other discussion, of course.
Yeah.
So, again, Sub-Zero Heroes, that's Saturday, February 8th. That's going to be in Highland there at Berrien Lake.
Yes.
And it's going to be a terrific time. But now let's talk about the reason why we're doing it, of course. The Alzheimer's Association. Alzheimer's, of course, it's afflicting a lot of people. The numbers are going up.
Yes.
As I mentioned already, my grandparents, both of them on my mom's side, were afflicted with it. It's a very tough disease, and it's hard for the whole family. So what can you tell us about the work that the Alzheimer's Association does, besides jumping into lakes to help people in the Hudson Valley, in New York, and the nation as a whole help against this disease?
So the Alzheimer's Association, we have a whole care and support area, which is the area that I oversee. Mm. And what we do is we provide the programs and services that families that are dealing with this disease or any other form of dementia. I should make it very clear that even though we're the Alzheimer's Association, our actual legal name is Alzheimer's Disease and Related Disorders Association. So you could have a loved one dealing with vascular dementia, Lewy body, frontal temporal dementia. I've worked with people that have had what they call chemo brain,
yes.
So treatments sometimes, I've worked with people with AIDS related, with alcohol related, with Lyme related. Yeah. There's actually a Lyme related form of dementia. So we help families no matter what the diagnosis is. Mm-hmm. We have a 24-hour helpline. The number is 1-800-272-3900. We have master level social workers or someone of a comparable degree that is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Wow.
We know that caregiving isn't Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And usually caregivers need us most at 3 o'clock in the morning when their loved one is getting up, getting dressed, and wanting to leave to go to work.
Yeah, all confused. It's the witching hour and everything.
Exactly.
So,
So we have that service. We also have wonderful care consultants. We have what's called a care consultation, and all of our services are free. Because of the fundraising that we do between our Walk to End Alzheimer's and our Sub-Zero Hero Jump that helps support us so that we can provide free services. So that's a master level social worker or someone of a comparable degree that can actually sit down with the family and kind of assess the situation and then get them connected to services in the community that would help them in what their current situation is. And then they help the family as the loved one continues to progress through the disease.
Yeah.
We also have caregiver support groups.
And that's fantastic too, because
Yes.
as a caregiver, I know exactly what that's like. And my mom, she really gets the brunt of it, taking care of her mom right now. And yeah, caregivers need that support. It is a huge undertaking
It is.
to do.
It is. And a lot of our caregivers say that our support groups are their lifeline because when you're caring for someone and you're isolated and you think you're the only one that's going through this situation, and then when you come to a support group and you're like, your eyes are opened and you're thinking, I'm not the only one. And there are other people that get it. And you can share the most difficult, painful stories, and everybody around that table is going to get it. They're going to understand it. They're going to support you. And so our support groups are extremely popular. And then we have a lot of education and training. Education for the care partner, the caregiver, professional training for staff that work in long-term care facilities. We really want to make sure that everybody has the tools and techniques they need in order to provide the care that they're giving.
Absolutely. And I know we've talked about this on other occasions as well, not just for the caregiver and the family, but you have a lot of resources for the people who are newly diagnosed.
Oh, yes.
Because one thing that we talked about in a previous conversation when back on the radio, people are getting diagnosed younger and younger than they were generations before. Yeah. So it's one thing when it's much older and you really do need that caregiver, but when everything else is, I guess, quote unquote, fine, but it's, let's say somebody in their 50s or 60s are getting diagnosed with this now, that's early in comparison to a lot of things. There should be a lot more life, there should be a lot more energy, there should be a lot more to give, and then with a diagnosis like that, it is scary. And figuring what to do in those first steps is pretty terrifying. So can you tell us a little bit about those resources as well?
Sure, yes. So when I started working here 25 years ago, people weren't being diagnosed or they were being diagnosed too late. There wasn't much we could do. And things have really changed and evolved over time. And you're right. Now that we're really pushing early detection and diagnosis because there are reversible forms of dementia, we are seeing more people in their 50s, 60s, early 60s, even 40s that are now being given a diagnosis. So we had to develop a whole other area of support for people diagnosed. So we have early stage support groups for people who've been diagnosed. We have trainings. We have educational programs for people who've been given a diagnosis.
Wow.
We even have with our home office an early stage advisory group. And what this early stage advisory group does is it actually guides the association on how best to support people diagnosed because we don't know what it's like.
Yeah.
So hearing from people who have been given that diagnosis, we can then learn from them on what is it that you need from us in order to get the support and guidance. And now that we have treatments that are slowing the progression of the disease, we now have a whole new group of individuals that we need to support because now people are going to be staying at a certain level for a much longer period of time, and they're going to need supports now that they're dealing with that. What we do is ever changing. I always say change is inevitable. And when the populations we're serving are changing, we have to change with them. So making sure that we're helping every single person that is dealing with this.
That's really important. And one thing that I want to ask, because I'm sure somebody listening might be asking this, with those early diagnoses, say somebody in their 40s or 50s gets that early diagnosis, that doesn't mean that they'll lose their memory the next week or something. It is a progression and could take a long time, right? It's not like an immediate thing all the time, correct?
Correct. However, there has been some research that looks at if you're diagnosed before the age of 65, you have what's called younger onset. People with younger onset do have a tendency to progress a little quicker.
Interesting. Okay.
Than somebody who's being given the diagnosis of early stage in their 70s.
Gotcha.
The other thing is a lot of people that have younger onset have what we call the familial type, which means they have several family members that have been given the diagnosis. And when I say several, an example, a young gentleman that I worked with, his mother was one of 12 children, so very big family.
Yeah.
Out of 12 siblings, 10 had Alzheimer's disease.
Oh, my God.
That's familial. That means there is the hereditary component within their genes, their genetic makeup. His mother was one of those. So he knew he was destined to get it.
Yeah.
And he got younger onset because of the familial type.
No, that makes sense. So when it is in the family, that's a really good sign that you should be checked out for or keep monitoring yourself.
Exactly. Yes.
From a very early standpoint, really.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting that you say that because we now know, this is a little frightening, but Connor and I are sitting here right now and we could very well have the plaques and tangles in our brains and we don't know it.
It's true. Yeah.
Because what researchers have now found out is that the hallmarks, and I'm talking specifically Alzheimer's, not the other forms of dementia, but the hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease begin 20 years or more before onset of symptoms.
Wow.
So now that we know that, now we're looking into the possibility of having better biomarkers, keeping track. So, we hope to have a blood-based biomarker that at some point when you go for your annual physical and you do the full blood workup and they're looking at, how you do the fasting blood work because they want to see about your insulin levels to see if you're at risk for diabetes. And of course, they're looking at your cholesterol levels because of cardiac issues. The hope is that at some point we'll have a blood test that will determine if you are at higher risk for Alzheimer's and what can you do.
Yeah.
How can you make changes, which is another quick thing. There are modifiable risk factors that we're learning more about. And this coming summer, we'll have the results of the largest lifestyle study called the U.S. Pointer Study.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if there's a time when there is a blood test and I get that blood test and they say, yes, you are at a higher risk, I can change my diet. I can increase my exercise. I can improve my sleep. I can make sure I'm social. I can keep track of my mental health. There's a lot of things we can do that could potentially change the trajectory.
And that's good to know that there are options with that. So as you said, you're looking to the organization and science as a whole is looking for better biomarkers. But as of right now, if somebody wants to reach out to their doctor and get screened, get tested to try to figure out stuff to help prepare themselves or their family members, where would they go now? Who would be the first person in the medical field to reach out to? Their physician? Is there a specific kind of doctor they should reach out to? What would be the best place to go to first?
So if you're concerned about your memory or a loved one's memory, you would start with the primary care physician. And it's also important that your primary knows what the history is. So if you have many, many family members, if your primary is properly educated, which we're also working on.
There you go.
would be able to know what kind of tests to just run you through, at least to get a baseline.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of testing.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm
sure.
And there are places that you can be referred to that would start the testing process so that at least you have a baseline. So, for example, I just had a baseline done at Nathan Klein Institute, which is in Orangeburg, New York. It's a research institution, but they have a memory evaluation program. And I did it simply so that I could learn what it's like to go through the process. But also now I have a baseline of what my cognitive abilities were now. And then I could go back down at any time. I can just call them because now I'm in their system.
Yeah.
I can call them and be like, I'm starting to see differences. Can I come back down? And they'll take me through all the tests again.
That's good.
It was about 2 hours. And then they can compare the baseline to what my outcomes are now to see if there are any changes. If your physician says it's either a normal part of aging or says you're too young, call us.
You might want to reach out to
you might want to
else.
get a second opinion.
Okay.
And one of my very, very dear friends, Arthena, she was experiencing memory issues in her late 40s.
Okay.
She was 48, and she went to her doctor, and he told her it was menopause and didn't do any testing. And year after year, she kept going back to him and saying, no, this is not menopause. There's something else. And unfortunately, she was not diagnosed until she was 51. So she missed out on some potential treatments that could have supported her for that time frame between 48 and 51.
Yeah.
She's now 60, still doing amazingly well.
That's good.
But when your physician isn't really listening, it's time to go to somebody else, somebody that's going to listen to you. And we actually have, it's called Community Resource Finder. Mm-hmm. And we actually have lists of physicians that specialize or know more about how to get a proper diagnosis, because it is falling more on primary care physicians because, sadly, our medical field is crumbling and people aren't going into the medical field, and we don't have a neurologist is usually involved in getting a proper diagnosis. But there's a shortage of neurologists, and people who are waiting to get a diagnosis sometimes are waiting 8 months or more for an appointment. So now primary doctors, it's kind of falling back on them to at least start the process while the person's waiting to get to the neurologist to continue the testing.
Geez. Well, after the pandemic, I'm not surprised that there's that kind of issue. And it's crazy how we are 5 years later, but these are the effects from it.
Yeah.
So it's not just affecting the way that we look at COVID-19 and just the way that we wear a mask or go outside. This affects many levels in the medical field. I was just speaking to somebody with the American Cancer Society about the aftermath of the pandemic, and 5 years later, how it's still affecting research and things along those lines. And here you are saying the exact same thing. We're going to be seeing these effects for a long time, unfortunately.
Very much so.
But there are silver linings, and you are doing fantastic things, especially like this research and these resources that people can check out.
Yes.
As we're wrapping up now, of course, people can find these resources on the Alzheimer's website. It doesn't have to be just the Hudson Valley chapter. They can go to where exactly, just for the overall Alzheimer's Association? Where should they go?
If you go to alz.org, that will take you to our national page. And then if you don't live in New York, you can put in, it gives you the option to find your local chapter. You put your zip code in, and then you will be brought to your local chapter's webpage, where you can learn about where their support groups are, where they're having educational programs. We have chapters across the country. We all work very closely, and we're also very seamless, which is nice. So if you had a sibling in California and one in Florida, they're going to get the same services, the same support, and have access to the same programs as you would here in New York.
Fantastic. And of course, again, all the links and information will be in the description of this episode. Meg, we really appreciate you being here. Do you have any last little nugget for those listening or watching right now?
I think it's just important to don't be afraid if you suddenly feel like you're forgetting things. Advocate for yourself, be proactive, go to your physician. If your physician doesn't listen, get a second opinion. Early detection is key. The treatments we have now that slow the progression are for people only in the very, very early stages. So it's only supporting a very small percentage. But early detection and early diagnosis is key.
Sounds great. Get yourself detected. Figure out those steps. Check out the website, call them, and also, you know what? Strike up a conversation if you're in the New York area at Sub-Zero Heroes. Again, that's happening February 8th. That's a Saturday. They're in Highland at Berrien Lake. Should be a very exciting time. Meg, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much, Connor. It's always good to see you.
It's always good to see you as well. I'm Connor.
I'm Meg.
And as always, we're glad we get to
spend some time.
Hey there, I'm the ad ref, and I'm calling a timeout on today's episode to tell you about our sponsors. First of all, let's throw it to Philomena in the booth. Philomena?
Thanks, Connor. I'm Philomena Finelli, CEO of Impact PR and Communications and a media maven, which is a fancy way of saying that my team and I help companies get in the news, transform leaders into thought leaders, and cut through the clutter with messaging that matters. And we do it all with a smile. Our agency was named the Woman-Owned Small Business of the Year for 2024 by the Metro New York District Office of the U.S. Small Business Administration, and we received the Gold Stevie Award for Women-Run Workplace of the Year, which is an international recognition. But it's not about the awards, it's about the personal interactions. We at Impact PR and Communications pride ourselves on crafting meaningful, results-driven public relations campaigns that are tailored to meet and exceed our clients' goals. If you want to learn more and talk to my team and I, visit prwithimpact.com and let us know that you found out about us from Walsh Wednesday. Now back to you, Ad Ref.
Thanks, Philomena. Now it's time to throw it over to a very handsome and, might I say, stylish young man. The Walsh Wednesday merch store is officially open. Now you can have my face on your body. That didn't come out right. When you visit the Walsh Wednesday merch store, you can select from hats, t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and more. By purchasing some Walsh Wednesday merchandise, you're not only supporting this program, but you're also supporting the local arts and organizations that are featured. Just visit cmjwentertainment.com/shop-merch and use promo code REVIVAL for 20% off. All links are in the description. I decided to work with Teespring for my merch store because, well, I was already buying from them. They have comfortable and durable products, and their printing is clear and reliable. One of my favorite hoodies is from my friend's Teespring collection, Offbeat Threads. To learn how to start your own online collection, visit teespring.com. And of course, I hope you get to spend some time at the Walsh Wednesday merch store. Thanks, guys. All right, that's enough of me. Time to get the show back on the road. Hey there, and welcome back to Walsh Wednesday. So glad to have you here with us today. And I have probably one of the sweetest events of the Hudson Valley to talk about today, and a very sweet person in her own right. We're here to talk about the 17th annual Cookie Walk put on by Love Inc. of the Mid-Hudson Valley. And this entire event is just so beautiful, so sweet. It's the day before the Super Bowl. It's a week before Valentine's Day. Couldn't be happening at a better time, but I'm just going to shut up and let the expert really talk about it. With us, I have my dear friend, Fund Development and Volunteer Coordinator for Mid-Hudson Love Inc., Joel Ratzlaff. Joel, how are you?
Hey, hi, Connor. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me in. Appreciate the time on your podcast.
Absolutely. Yes, we knew each other through the radio at first, and
yep.
Now we brought you over here for Walsh Wednesday.
All right. Fantastic. Yes, and we always look forward to this event, this Cookie Walk event. And people are like, Cookie Walk? What does that mean, a cookie walk? Well, let me tell you. It means that we have had hundreds of bakers who pull out their best recipes and donate their cookies to this event. And then we put them out on beautiful platters, tables spread out, and people pick up a bakery box, they pick up a plastic glove, and you walk through the cookies. And then you're looking at all these wonderful, gorgeous cookies. You pick up your favorites. You'll say, I'll have 4 of those. I'll have 6 of those. I'll have 10 of those. We have gluten-free. We have, just regular, all different kinds of wonderful recipes that people have baked. Last year, there were over 900 dozen cookies. Can you imagine what 900 dozen cookies looks like?
No, I really can't. And even though I was there last year, I really can't.
It is phenomenal.
Because so much is in storage, even still when you're like out on the floor and everything.
Yep. We keep bringing it out, bringing out more. The whole day we're running back and forth between the kitchen and the tables with these platters of gorgeous cookies. And we just have the most generous bakers. They do a fabulous job. Over 100 bakers from different churches, different areas in this community who donate their time, donate all of these ingredients. And you think about the prices and how things have gone up, for butter and eggs and nuts and whatnot. They're just so generous. And they bake their favorite cookies. They donate them to this event. And then as you know, you get your bakery box, you go through and you pick out your favorites. And when you get to the end, you say, okay, I filled this box. I guess that's enough for me for Super Bowl and for Valentine's, and I'm going to quit now. And then we weigh the box. And it's $10 a pound for the cookies, and out you go with fabulous, fabulous treats.
They really are fabulous. Last year, when I stopped in, I grabbed 2 very big boxes of cookies, and I kept... Actually, no, sorry, 3 boxes. I had 3. I had 3.
Way to go.
I know, right? Because I got one for my family. Okay. I got another box for my girlfriend's family. Mm-hmm. And then I had a box for just my girlfriend and I.
Okay.
And it was perfect. We were snacking on them all through the Super Bowl, all through Valentine's Day. And we still had some afterwards going through the week. And it was beautiful. It was delicious. And oh my God, everybody was so happy and grateful. I was like the king that weekend for bringing out the cookies. But you guys are the real royalty here of being able to put it together and be able to serve the community in this way. And before we get into how it is serving the community, let's talk more about the cookies, of course. I believe last year you said you had like, you in particular made like cheesecake cookies. Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, I do these mini cheesecake things where there's an Oreo on the bottom and then you put the cherries on top and they're pretty yummy. And they weigh quite a bit too.
Oh, so they get you up there to that.
Yeah, right. They push the limit on the weight. But anyway, I love to bake. And I join in as well. And you know what? I'm not even sure. Have we said the date? This is Saturday,
yes.
February 8th.
Yep.
Opens at 9:00 in the morning and closes at 2 in the afternoon, unless, of course, all the cookies are gone by then. Mm-hmm. We can only offer cookies as long as they last. So it depends on the crowds and how many people come, how long the actual, the displays last. So I would suggest come early and grab your goodies while you can.
Absolutely. And there are so many great cookies. And I remember some brownies, some blondies, things along those lines.
Of course.
You had your cheesecake ones. It's such a great variety of things. Mm-hmm. So delicious. Again, like get it for your Super Bowl party. It was perfect for mine. And then it was just great for Valentine's Day all together. And of course, when it comes to this event, this is the 17th annual.
Yeah.
So that's an incredible legacy. And I feel like it keeps increasing with the number of cookies. I think the first time we talked, you told me it was like 600 dozen, and then next time we talked it was 800 dozen,
Yep.
And then now you're telling me
Now it's
900 dozen.
dozen.
So how did this start in the first place 17 years ago?
Gosh,
What got this going?
Wow, that's a great question. I believe it was our executive director's idea to do this. I don't remember where she got the idea, whether it was something she had heard about. I mean, there are other organizations that do similar kinds of events, but I really don't remember how it actually started 17 years ago.
Were you there for the
But,
first one, or did you come in later?
I believe I was there for the first one. Yep.
Very good.
Yeah.
When it's almost like 20 years ago, it's kind of hard to remember.
I know.
everything.
Yeah, it is.
No, I get you on that, but it's so cool to see how it's built over the years. Obviously, I've only been familiar with it for like the last 3, but even just in the last 3, it's been amazing to see what you guys have been able to do. So, of course, $10 per pound is the suggested donation. Of course, people come in, people donate. Sometimes people give even more because they appreciate the cause. But let's talk about the cause. How exactly is Love Inc. using these funds to help benefit the community?
Sure. Happy to talk about that as well. Love Inc. is a partnership of churches and community organizations, and our focus is serving families who are experiencing poverty.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we try to help organize opportunities to serve people, to serve families, and that might include delivering personal care items to a family, because personal care items, things like toilet paper and shampoo and toothpaste, those are things you can't buy with SNAP benefits.
No.
You have to use cash. If we can deliver a bag of personal care items that's worth maybe $40, that frees up that $40 for them to use on other things like paying for groceries, paying for the Central Hudson bill, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so it just frees up the budget. The other kinds of things that we do is we also offer beds, brand new beds, through a collaboration with multiple churches. We also offer linens, towels, pillows, those kinds of things. We try to deliver the linens at the same time that the bed gets delivered. We also have furniture. About 45% of the calls that we take are actually looking for furniture. It is something that, I mean, it makes such a huge difference, right? If you have an empty room with no furniture in it, or you've got some chairs and a sofa to sit on and all of that, it makes a house into a real home.
Absolutely.
And so we will pick up donations of furniture and we will deliver the donations directly to those individuals who've called and expressed a need for furniture. When I look at the statistics for this past year, 2024, Mid-Hudson Love Inc. answered 1,085 calls for assistance.
That's significant.
It really is, yeah. And we delivered 763 bags of personal care items. We delivered 94 packages of linens, 24 furniture deliveries, 19 deliveries of household items, and we work together with an organization called Acts of Kindness, which is part of Duchess Outreach.
Yep, I've heard
So
that.
we collaborate with them. We try to collaborate as much as possible with any local organization, any church ministry, because, I mean, there's no point in duplicating services. Let's work collaboratively. Let's work together to help meet needs. One of our newer initiatives is that we've been reaching out to the Spanish-speaking congregations in our area, to build bridges there, to build connections so that we can also better serve our Spanish-speaking population, which is booming in Poughkeepsie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County as a
Yep.
whole, Hudson Valley, seriously, it is a booming community. And as you said already, the collaboration, that's something that Love Inc. has really been able to excel with.
Yep.
The collaboration, all the people who are volunteering their time, all the donations. So those who say they have plenty to give, let's say they have enough where it's like, I don't need this anymore, or they're listening to this, it's like, I need to be able to donate or give to this somehow. What is the best way to arrange a donation of goods or services of any way?
I would direct people either to the website or a phone number. So website is www.mid-hudsonloveinc.org. And the phone number is 845-471-0102. But on our website, there is actually a place where it says donate, and you can actually fill out a form there if you've got furniture. Say, I've got this piece and it's this big, I've got this piece. And it's a great way to be able to say, this is what I have. Is this something you can use?
Yes.
And then we can respond appropriately with a pickup. We do pickups and deliveries on every first and third Saturday of the month. So volunteers are out there with their pickup trucks, driving around the county saying, okay, we got a sofa over here, we've got a dresser over here, let's pull it together, and we can deliver it directly to this particular home.
Wow. It really is incredible. And again, I just want to stress the fact that these are volunteers.
Yes.
These are people who are volunteering their time and giving so much of themselves in a number of different ways, whether it is their time, their services, their resources, the people who are donating things. Again, it's a donation, so they are helping and giving in their own goodwill. So I want to talk about that for a second, the goodwill in the community in a time period that many would say is kind of crazy and tumultuous. Why is it so important just to remember the human element of it all?
Oh, gosh. I mean, we all go through rough times, right?
Yeah.
Life is not easy. And so if we can have empathy and compassion for our neighbors, I mean, it just, it makes a huge, huge difference. And having come out of the pandemic, we heard so many people who felt so isolated and lacking in community support that it was painful. I mean, it just so sad how many people felt so isolated during and after the pandemic. And we're still, I think, recovering from that. So many, many people that call Mid-Hudson Love Inc. are still struggling with that sense of isolation. Where's my support system? Where's my community? Where are my people?
Yeah.
And so I do also want to mention that one other thing that Mid-Hudson Love Inc. does is we offer classes.
I was going to bring this up. That was the
Thank
next thing I was going to say.
you.
Yes.
Yes, we do offer classes, which gives people a chance to come together and meet some other folks who are struggling perhaps in similar ways. And, it's like, oh, I'm not the only one. Oh, I'm not alone. Okay, there's some really nice people here, and we can kind of walk this rough road together.
Yeah.
So we offer classes that are, cover a wide variety of things. But, for example, one of the classes that I'm involved with teaching, we do some nutrition and reading label kind of stuff.
Perfect.
So that we can also share recipes and share ideas about this is what I look for when I go grocery shopping, because I have issues with high blood pressure, or I have issues with diabetes. So I have to watch for these certain things on my labels.
Yeah.
And we do share recipes. We have, someone come in and talk to us about how to stretch one chicken into several different meals.
I love it.
And we also offer some real nuts and bolts kind of budgeting classes.
Smart.
And we offer spiritual exploration classes to help build people their emotional and spiritual health.
Yeah.
Connecting people to people has proven to be so valuable, and people just love it.
And again, with these classes, this is available to anybody in the community, correct?
Yeah. When they call Love Inc. and sign up and say, "Yeah, I wanna be a part of this organization. I want to be a part of what you have to offer." The barrier is not high. So yes, we open our arms and welcome people in.
No, that's beautiful. And I think it's fantastic the way that you guys are able to bring people in. You have the space for education. You have the space for understanding. And I know we've talked about this before. It's a mix of people, those who are going through a hard time now, people who were going through a hard time, but they have been so thankful and they believe in the mission of Love Inc. that they've become even more a part of it to help other people out. I think it's just this beautiful trickle down and domino effect of a lot of help and grace and altruism in this community. I think that's really terrific, and I think it's something that we really need to promote these days. So that's fantastic. So again, people can call in and find out more info on the website, right?
Yep. There's lots of information on the website. And we would absolutely welcome anyone to stop by the Cookie Walk. We'll have lots of information there as well, and can talk in person about what Love Inc. does and how, if people want to volunteer, how could they get involved? If people want to donate furniture, how do they do that? All of that. We're happy to do that in person at the Cookie Walk. So come on by Saturday, February 8th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I should say it will be held at the Poughkeepsie United Methodist Church at 2381 New Hackensack Road, which is also Route 376.
And of course, we'll have all the links and information in the description of this episode, so you'll be able to put it all together. You'll find your way. And again, show up in person and have these conversations. It's been a real pleasure to be able to go there myself and see how this all is. And I even ran into people that I've known from my past, whether that was like back in school or whatnot. I was like, oh my God, what are you doing here? And it's just nice. It's just a really nice opportunity.
Yep,
Jewel,
great people.
Thank you so much for being here for this episode of Walsh Wednesday. Before we completely wrap up, do you have any last little nugget that you want to leave our listeners with?
Gosh, I guess as volunteer coordinator, I'd just like to say we have approximately 225 volunteers who in the year 2024 gave over 7,000 hours of volunteer time. I mean, time is a real value. I mean, it's a treasure, right? We always say, I don't have enough time, right? And here are over 200 volunteers giving 7,000 hours of their time to serve their neighbors. And wow, it really is an amazing experience to be with volunteers who are serving, to see their heart for other people, and of course those volunteer bakers for our fabulous cookie walk.
Yep.
Woohoo! We love them.
Honestly, that's very powerful, Jewel. It really is. And I'm so thankful for the work that you guys are doing in the Hudson Valley region. You guys are doing fantastic stuff.
Well, thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about it, too.
Absolutely, of course. I'm Connor.
I'm Jewel.
And as always, we're glad we get to
spend some time.
And that's a wrap on this week's episode. Big thank you to Meg Boyce and Jewel Ratzlaff. And of course, special shout out to Impact PR and Communications, Teespring, IABO Board 114, and Walsh Valuation. Last but certainly not least, we have to recognize our first Patreon member, Jenna Hess. Thank you, Jenna. I love you very much. I can say that because I actually know you, and I appreciate the support. You can support this channel by becoming a Patreon member with memberships as low as $5 a month. With that, you can get behind-the-scenes content, your name featured in the credits of each episode, and access to the Spend Some Time chat. You can find that and more by scanning the QR code on your screen or by going to the links in the description. As always, I'm Connor Walsh, and I'm glad we get to spend some time.